Daniel chapter 2 verse 31. Thou, O king, sawest, and behold, a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. Kahallah, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahshua Ba'ashim Kadash. Alright, Shalom to the elect and the 1/3 of the children of Israel. This is Providence in Babylon, Tampa Bay, Florida. Double honors to the teachers and the head apostles of the great master of well. Peace and salutations to the Archon. Push out this word with truth and sincerity. Also, barakatah to the Aquafium who are listening as well. Okay, just want to do this quick hit of the visual of Nebuchadnezzar's dream in the book of Daniel. You know, something to remember quick. Okay, so let's get straight to it. Daniel chapter 2 verse 31. Thou, O king, sawest, and behold, a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. Okay, so this was in Nebuchadnezzar's dream, and he had an idol that stood very tall, and it took a long time to build. It took a very long time to build. You know, but he didn't understand the dream. So Daniel had to interpret the dream. No one else couldn't but Daniel. Let's get to it. This image's head was fine of gold, his breast and his arms of silver, his belly and his thighs of brass, his legs of iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay. Okay, so as you see in this visual, you know, I lined up all the kingdoms that ruled according to that statue. All right. So the head of the gold, it's the Babylonian Empire. Okay. The silver represents the Persian and the Medes. Okay. All right. So the brass represents the Grecians. Okay, you know, and then the iron represents the Romans. Okay, and then the part clay and the part iron is NATO and the EU, which is Roman rebirth. Okay, according to Revelations, the 13th chapter. Okay, so the Babylonian, just Nebuchadnezzar, Persian Medes, you know, King Cyrus. You know, the Grecian Empire, beginning with Alexander the Great, the father of Philip, which is in First Maccabees, beginning at the First Maccabees in the book of in the Apocrypha. Okay, located in the Apocrypha, which the Grecian Empire began. All right, the Roman Empire, which is in the New Testament, beginning in in the book of Matthew. Okay, and then NATO and the EU, the 10 toes, and America sitting upon the beast. All right, so continuing Daniel chapter 2 verse 34. Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands, and that stone representing Yahushai. Okay, that thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet that were of iron and clay, and brake them to pieces. Verse 35. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together, became like the chaff of the summer threshing floors. You know that build up, you know, like during the summertime, you know, like all the debris and all that stuff. Pretty much, that's the way the Lord's going to vaporize and destroy America. Against America is the worst kingdom in history compared to all these other ancient empires that was wicked. America being the worst, taking after all those customs of the heathens, of the other heathens. All right, America being the third Edomite empire, which is the so-called white people, all right, beginning in the Grecians, of the Greco-Roman, all the way down to America, which is today, of the Roman rebirth with NATO in the EU. Okay, and then before it was NATO, EU, and Brexit, but later on they broke apart. I think that's somewhere in the book of Revelations, but we're gonna keep this class simple. Okay, so that stone in verse 34 is Yahushua about to destroy the last kingdom. All right, and that's mentioned in the book of Daniel chapter 7, starting at verse 9, ending at verse 14. Okay, so read that for yourself. All right, now let's go to Revelations. Okay, Revelations chapter 13. Real quick. So, let's get it. So this is the book of Revelation chapter 13 verse 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. So we're going to go straight to the point of the 7 heads and 10 horns. The 10 horns is NATO in the EU, all right, which is today America as well. So NATO, EU, and America, as you see on the screen, the visual, okay, which is the 10 toes and the part clay and part iron, okay, and the 7 heads to remember, which you learned at school mainly, the Spanish, the French, and the British. Those were the 3 heavy empires that we were taught in school. So the Spanish, Spain, the French, the British, and then Grecian, Roman, Germania Major, and Germania Minor. Okay, those are the 7 heads. Those are the 7 heads, and the 10 horns, which is Belgium, Denmark, France, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Greece, Ireland, England, West Germany. That is the 10 toes. All right, and the 10 horns. Okay, is NATO in the EU, which is the 10 toes that you see on the screen on the statue. And the Lord in Daniel 2 and 34, that stone that's about to knock down this statue is Yahushua. Okay, and to prove that is Daniel chapter 7 verse 9 all the way down to verse 14. All right, so Yahushua is going to destroy this place in 1 hour, and that'll be the end all be all for America, which is Babylon the Great. Okay, so I hope this class was edifying to the elect. Call Allah, Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushua, Ba'ashim Kakadash. Till next time I say Shalom, DTA, Abba, soon.